Ad Infinitum is the only podcast solely focused on audio ads.
Advertising.
The creatives who make them, and or the latest thinking that informs them, how the space is evolving, and, my favorite part, a roundup of recent audio ads and analysis by yours truly,
Campaign.
Stu Redwine, VP Creative at Oxford Road, and each episode's guest. So we've got a lot of guests this week. This is Season 2, Episode 13, One Amazon to Rule Them All, where we're going to be breaking down some ads across all of Amazon's portfolio. They continue to show up as a top spender in Magellan.ai, and you can go to Magellan.ai/ad infinitum to sign up for a free demo. Now let's welcome to the show. First and foremost, we've got Amelia Coomber, CMO at Podscribe and host of Make Better. Welcome, Amelia.
Thank you.
And Amelia's illustrious co-host, Adam McNeil, over there at Make Better, and SVP of Client Services at Adopter Media. Always awesome to have you on the show, Adam. Thank you.
Reporting for duty.
That's right. That's right. I was talking to somebody about Ad Infinitum. They'd listened to the episode where all of you were on it, and they're like, and there's that one guy that was like really breaking it down, like really going through all this stuff. I was like, oh, is this Adam? And it's like, yeah, I like him.
I like Squidward.
So the likable Adam McNeil. We've also got Paul, let me get this right, Reese Mandel, who is El Presidente at Signal Hill Insights. Paul, welcome.
Sí, verdad.
See. All right. Awesome. And last but not least, certainly not least, part-time producer on Ad Infinitum and founder of Earbuds. Welcome to the show, Ariel Nissenblatt.
Thank you for having me. Excited to produce.
Yay. I'm so glad you're on. Welcome you all back to Ad Infinitum. It's nice to get the band back together. So like I said, we're going to be listening to some Amazon spots. And I think it's interesting that, whether you're using Magellan or Podscribe, at first blush, you can kind of think of it as one monolithic spend, right? Like in Magellan, for instance, across all of Amazon, you see Amazon spending $7 million in September and then $8 million in October. So they keep topping the charts. But then as you look deeper, it's split across several brands. And I've got a few of those that we can listen to today from Amazon Audible, Amazon Prime Video, Whole Foods Market, Amazon Business, Amazon Music. When you guys think of that, like just such a behemoth, like when we're talking about BetterHelp, it's just BetterHelp, right? We're talking about Amazon. We're talking about all of these. Obviously, they understand the power of audio and understand the power of podcasts. Like, what do you think of how much Amazon is investing in podcasting?
I mean, it's good. But I mean, it's sort of interesting if you think about another enormous brand like P&G, right? Does it all get aggregated as P&G when we think about spend? Or are we looking at Tide, separate from Gillette? I wonder, because I think, if I'm not incorrect, and please someone correct me, these are different buying teams, right? And maybe in some cases, different agencies. That's something I may not know as well as some of you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the whole thing is it does represent several different teams and folks across that entire organization. I'm curious to hear what the rest of you guys think as well. And I'll just go around the room. So when you look at that $8 million spent, $7 million in September, $8 million in October, Adam, what do you see when you see Amazon investing like that in podcasting?
Well, I mean, it's across different brands, and some of them I think you can group together, and other ones you probably can't as easily. If you're talking about Amazon Music, if you're talking about Prime, and those, they all kind of have a shared customer acquisition target that they want, which is a Prime user at the end of the day, but they're coming at them through different channels and different means. I might subscribe to Amazon Music via Amazon Prime, but music is the reason that I got a Prime subscription. And in the same way, maybe I'm going to Amazon because I want to order everything from A to Z, and therefore I want a Prime subscription. Prime subscription at the end of the day for most of their campaigns is the thing that they want you to eventually sign up for, and that we all end up bending the knee to at the end of the Christmas holidays. And so outside of that, though, when we talk about Wondery, if we're talking about Whole Foods, I could see those operating somewhat quite differently than the rest of the Amazon buying team, but the rest all do at some level have a lot of overlap. And so if they're separated, I don't know why or how they interpret data together, but that would be a question that I would ask is how do they work?
Amelia, what about you? What do you see when you look at Amazon spend in podcasting?
Yeah, well, in Podscribe, we have it broken out because to your point, it's definitely different teams. And that's how Amazon operates is like there's the Audible team and there's the Amazon Fresh team and things like that. And so it's interesting when you're looking at music versus Prime versus just Amazon in general versus, again, Amazon Fresh. And the differences in what they're spending, even just in the last year, is pretty significant. Amazon Prime, about $3.8 million in the last year. Amazon Music, $15.1. General Amazon, $34.1. one, and then Amazon like Fresh or they're like Whole Foods, they just started spending in September of this year from what we were able to gather, and they're only spending, about a little less than $1 million. So I think looking at the ad creative, which we're going to do, is going to be really interesting. What are the similarities? Like to Adam's point, is there other call outs just about general Amazon or Amazon Prime in their Amazon apps or music and things like that? But yeah, how you, for the things that are similar, for the products where it can be an entry point to the other products, are they including that or integrating that in their ad creative, and how they think about their podcast strategy will be really interesting to dive into.
Yes, for sure. It's illuminating. I got a little sneak listen to the spots. I think that's what's in my head is like it's one and yet it's many. So it's like, how do they show up sonically? Is it cohesive? Does it need to be cohesive? I think, Ariel, with you, I really see you as somebody who's like the gateway drug into podcasting, but like the common person, or even like somebody who's beginning to get some of the chief audio officer responsibilities but doesn't have the language yet. I guess I'm just like empathetically putting myself in the shoes of somebody that doesn't know much. They've been tasked with this responsibility. And let's say they just see this big number and they see Amazon. Like, how does somebody start to interpret and think about how a brand as massive as Amazon is showing up in audio?
Thank you for the question. Can I pivot it a bit?
Please, I would expect nothing less.
Okay, so I am here to represent the block of people who listen to a lot of podcasts, but are not deeply involved in the day-to-day of podcast advertising technology. So while I listen and I never skip an ad, because I'm always curious about how ads are running on podcasts, I am hoping to represent more of the every podcast listener today. So I'm always thinking about what's converting me and what's my immediate response to a new product that's being advertised. I bought like 3 things from podcast ads this week, Bombas, socks, whatever. But I want to bring this up. I listen to a podcast every day, twice a day, called The Daily Zeitgeist. And this month they have been pushing hard on eBay. And I have not heard one ad for Amazon. So that's just an interesting anecdotal tidbit.
That is interesting.
And eBay, right? Like, when was the last time you heard of eBay?
Yeah, when I listen to the Daily Zeitgeist, apparently, which I don't listen to. That's interesting. Yeah, I listen to Imaginary Worlds. Well, I just started listening to Imagine. I'm super late to the party. And so I binged 50 episodes, 100 episodes, like crazy. And he must do dynamic insertion because it's all Marvel Snap.
Wow.
And I don't even play games. And I downloaded Marvel Snap. And I ended up paying him money for the Thanos expansion because I wanted to have the Thanos card in the Infinity Stones. So it worked. They beat me with that ad. Like, there's something to be said just about frequency, right, guys? Okay, well, actually, who else here has been converted by a podcast ad? Most recent podcast ad that converted you?
Actually, mine is not even a direct podcast ad conversion. I love Bombas, and I heard about them from Helen Zaltzman's Illusionist podcast in 2017. I bought my first pair in 2020. I have purchased a pair every December since then. So this is my 4th time purchasing Bombas. I love them. I just lose socks, which is why I'm choosing them again. They don't get worn. They're incredible. And I'm a long-term customer, right? Like, their ad got me, but I'm not constant. I can't recall the last time I heard an ad for Bombas specifically on any podcast in particular, but I know it was from a podcast. And you better believe that every time they ask for attribution where you heard about this product, I'm putting podcasts.
That's amazing. I mean, Adam, what do you think when you hear that? Like, that's the magic of the channel that's hard to express to people.
It warms my ad buying heart to know that someone gave attribution to the podcast that converted them.
Well, and the long-term value is what I'm saying, man. It's like someone's going to hear an ad, then they will take the action, and then they're a customer for years. So then, like, the CPM, how are we valuing that?
Yeah, I've been a Warby Parker customer since 2017 or 2018 when I first heard an ad for Warby Parker through Adam Grant's podcast, Work Life. And I still wear their glasses today. And it was such a really, really good ad because he dove deep into the workplace culture of what Warby Parker was at the time, which was a unique way of doing an ad. It was like a 5-minute segment ad where he talked and interviewed people because that's what his show was about. It was workplace culture. And I was like, oh, that's a cool way to integrate an ad into your show where it's not an ad, it's more content about what you're already talking about while promoting a product you love. And so I've been a fan of them since then. And they just started spending again on podcasting recently. I heard an ad for them. I have not bought a pair in a while, but I would. I love the product.
And let's think about that reinforcement, right? So, Ariel, you were converted to Bombas years ago. And I think there's a tendency sometimes, and I think we see that, you just mentioned Warby Parker, Adam, that brands come in, they say, okay, we think we've gotten everything we can from podcasting, and then they dial it back. And they're forgetting 2 really important things. One, podcasting is not a monolithic audience. It is constantly changing and shifting, and there's new people coming into the medium every single day and coming into every single show every day. So you're not tapping out the audience, really. But then the second point is the reinforcement, being reminded about Bombas, being reminded about Warby Parker. The idea that like, oh, yeah, I haven't gotten new glasses in a little bit. Maybe it's time. Maybe I have a new prescription. Maybe it reminds me I should get a new prescription and go get new glasses. That there's you need to keep care and feeding of that garden that you've built in podcasting and not just think about it as big spend, dial back because we have new audience and people need reminding about your brand.
Yeah, and I want to clarify and add to that. I think that there's something to say about the journey that I went on where it came from a host endorsement that was very organic. And then there were later touch points that may have not needed an endorsement to then reconvert me or to remind me because I was already influenced from a prior endorsement to love and cherish the brand. I just needed a reminder. I needed to be top of mind. I remember walking in, I don't even remember what area it is, in Summerlin in Las Vegas, and they have a Warby Parker outlet store there. And I walked by and I was like, this is the first time I've ever been able to go inside a Warby Parker store. And I did because I was such a fan and it was just an experience to me. I didn't even buy anything. I didn't need to buy anything. I just wanted to go in based on that prior influence. So 100%, I think that there's a value of the journey that I went on to get to that point.
How about you, Amelia? Have you been converted by a podcast ad?
I have a company called Thesis. They make like a focus supplement specifically for people with ADHD. And I think I heard about them on the Andrew Huberman podcast, but similar to what Ariel was saying, and which is really unique about podcasting is obviously you can reach incremental people and things like that. And there's a lot of incrementality there. But again, she already knew about Bombas and I knew about Thesis through their Facebook ads, but it was the podcast ad that like pushed me over the line, reminded her. And so there's a frequency and a remarketing element that I think often gets overlooked in podcasting. It's the right time, it's the right place. And I think one of the unique things is podcasting can convert people that would not have otherwise converted by just seeing a Facebook ad. That's just really interesting to sort of watch unfold.
Completely. I mean, this Marvel Snap, I'm telling you, like, I have not played video games since college. And Eric Malinsky, I was like, man, I really like this guy. And it's like, Marvel Snap has a new da-da-da-da-da. Marvel Snap has... I'm like, what is this Marvel Snap? And then I hand the guys money and it's a free game. You guys actually are buying useful stuff. Paul, what podcast ads have converted you, if any?
I mean, I have bought some Vessi shoes. I've bought Allbirds. I was converted to a razor, and now I wish I could the name.
Harry's.
No. So no, it's a safety razor. So it's
Billy.
It's old school. It's what?
Dollar Shave Club.
Oh, this is a fun game.
What's it called? It's called
Henson Shaving.
It's that one with the removable blades. They were a Shark Tank company.
Henson Shaving.
Adam's saying Henson. Is it Henson?
Yes. Henson. Yes, sorry, Henson. Exactly.
Thank you.
This could be a game.
Yeah, this could
be
a
a segment.
That should be a segment.
And then which ones are actually running on podcast ads?
Oh, completely.
Just want to say, Paul, thank you. Our client. Thank you for supporting them.
Yay.
Oh, great. Yeah. It was on Deep Questions with Cal Newport. And I don't think I've heard it recently, which is why it's not as front of mind. Yeah, he convinced me. I had recently stopped using an electric razor and I was like, I need a good razor. And I was totally brought on board.
Is Henson the one that's like built to last?
Yes. Canadian Aircraft Aluminum.
Yeah, I could go on like a 30-minute rant.
See, we know their talking points. It's remarkable.
They're phenomenal. Best razor.
Okay. I think it's what I asked for my kids for Christmas, but I think I got it on Instagram. But nevertheless, that is a funny game. So socks,
Take that back.
Socks, shoes, glasses, razors, and frivolities, and a game.
I bought shampoo this week.
Okay, well, that's good. So podcast advertising works. Thank you for joining Ad Infinitum. Okay, let's listen to how this massive spender in audio is showing up in audio in podcasting. So we have got 7 ads from Amazon's top brands that are advertising in audio. And I'm just going to have us jump right in, actually starting with Amazon Music. This was on the Husker Online podcast. So here we go.
Hey, podcast listeners. Tired of ads barging into your favorite news podcast? Good news. With Amazon Music, you have access to the largest catalog of ad-free top podcasts included with your Prime membership. Stay up to date on everything newsworthy by downloading the Amazon Music app for free or go to amazon.com/ad-free news. That's amazon.com/ad-free news to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads.
Hey, Ad Infinitum guests. Are you tired of ads?
Yeah, I'm out of here.
All right, let's do a quick round robin on that one. Give me your out of 10 and your quick reaction to it, because we got 6 more to go.
Are we ranking the effectiveness of the ad or if we like it or what's the vibe?
Yeah, it's effectiveness. Basically, what we just all testified to, that could this ad do
Would it convert me?
on any kind of timeline, but would this ad convert you?
That would not convert me because I'm way too plugged into that product. I listen to podcasts on Pocket Cast. So if I'm listening to that, it's telling me to download Amazon Music, which I've already downloaded because I work in the podcast industry. But even if I'm a regular person, I'm probably not downloading it either because I'm probably using Apple or Spotify and I'm satisfied with it. Okay, I'll give it a 6.5.
Beautiful. Thank you. You broke the seal. All right, Adam.
I'm going to answer in twofold. One, I think it's a boring ad. But two, if you unfrequency capped this and ran it multiple times in the same episode telling me about ad-free listening to this podcast, I would get so fed up with this ad that I probably would end up subscribing to Amazon Music. And therefore, depending on how they flake this, I might rank this a 10 out of 10 ad. Otherwise, I don't think it's very good.
Okay. So that is an interesting, it's a weighted 10 if it didn't have that advantage. Not knowing that, what do you give it?
I'd give it like a 5, probably. It's very bland.
Yeah, Amelia.
3. I don't know. I was really unimpressed. I think that's really interesting, Adam, what you said is that you're running ads on, a podcast with ads. And I think that they could have used that, are you sick and tired of hearing me? Well, you can go over to Amazon Music and you can listen to ad-free music and other things. And that would have been good enough right there in 10 seconds. Then, this commercial-y voice, that was a commercial. And we're all sick and tired of commercials. And there's a way to integrate like fun sounds and music and that sort of voice persona in there without, it just being interruptionary.
Yes, totally interruptionary. Paul, how about you?
Yeah, it's a 5. It's completely average. And I think, Adam, you picked it out. It is an ad designed for frequency. It's also an ad designed to reinforce perhaps the core message that might be in a different creative, might be in a host read, right? So it's part of an overall package, it's part of an overall buy. I hope it's not the only creative being used in this campaign because it's fine, right? For all the reasons that you all have pointed out. But I think if it's paired with other creatives in the same campaign, it'll help to reinforce and of course reinforce the message that you're tired of ads.
So I want to do this. I want to have you guys all rate them all. And then at the end, we'll just do the Audiolytics like top 10 to see if they line up. But I think it's safe to assume that the system is seeing the same sort of mediocrity that you guys are calling out. And I thought it was interesting, Amelia, what you're saying. It's like, it did say, hey, podcast listeners, tired of ads barging into your favorite news podcast, but it did it in like a way that it even sounded like the ad it was making a comment on instead of like they could have done a car crash sound or something to lean into it even more. Like this piece of, but it was more like just a news guy talking with the news voice.
It's not navel-gazing enough. Weirdly.
Thank you, Ariel. That's what I'm trying to say. Exactly. Yeah. Like it was like, I'm self-aware, but I'm actually not that self-aware.
Exactly.
I also want to call out, they have a vanity URL at the end. Keep that in mind. And let's get right into the next one.
Can I add an improvement?
Yeah.
I think if they tapped into the cultural moment of what that ad could be saying and saying, are you tired of trying to find the fast forward 15 to get through bad ads? Go to Amazon Music. And it's like tapping into the cultural moment where everybody is typically wanting to find the skip forward of bad ads. It's giving a bad ad and tapping into that while then sending them to a better place, ideally, that won't have that experience.
Yes, and I think this has happened before in Ad Infinitum that my reaction has been, and somebody else, I heard this somewhere else, so I can't remember where, but just this thought of like, hey, podcast listeners, tired of ads barging into your favorite news podcast is more like a line in a creative brief. I think it was Dallas Taylor on the very first episode of this show, that it's like, that's actually the line you would give the creatives to write something more like what you just said, Adam. But it's like, this is like just the thought and then, we're just going to say it. So definitely room for improvement. Let's jump into the next one. This one is Amazon Business, Wisdom from the Top with Guy Raz.
We could all use more time. Amazon Business offers smart business buying solutions so you can spend more time growing your business and less time doing the admin. I can see why they call it smart. Learn more about smart business buying at amazonbusiness.com.
Whew. Okay, let's start with Amelia.
Yeah. Oh, God, Amazon, don't hate me. Honestly, again, a 3 or something. I don't know if that was their sound at the beginning or if that was the show's sound, but that went on for ages. I also think everything they said was just so fluffy. They could have given me one specific example about how they could have made it would help them make smarter decisions. And, sure, only 20% of people might have related to that, but then rather than 0% of people being like, okay, wait, what does smarter decisions mean? And also, are you offending me because I'm not making decisions or smart decisions? So they could have been more specific. And it was short and it was good, but it just sounded like the brand team took hold and was like, our tagline is better decisions decisions in faster time, and that means nothing to me.
Very good. Thank you. We were going to pass that along to the creative team and have them come back with a revision. Paul, would you like to add on?
Cannot argue with anything Amelia just said, so I'm going to go in with a 3 as a small business owner.
Okay.
I'm going to say, you got me hooked a little bit on like, you can make it easier for me, but I want to know more, and you haven't given me enough of a hook that you've dragged me to go figure it out on my own. I need something. What is the easier? I'm ready for easy. I just don't know what it is. So yeah, it's a 3.
Okay. Ariel.
I don't even remember what it was about. 3.5.
That's generous for having zero memory.
Points for, it's a nice contextual ad. It makes sense. There is an ad on the New York City subway lately for Rippling, which is an HR software that is called Rippling, that if you are not in HR, it's for 2% of people who are riding the subway, right? This is like a little bit better than that, but it kind of reminds me of like, I guess it's contextual, but is it converting people? I don't know. 3.5.
You're being generous, which is good to be charitable.
I just realized that I was generous for my first one, so I'm going to keep up that scale.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. Adam, what about you closing us out on this one?
Yeah, I can't give it higher than a 3. Aside from contextual fit, it's not good. I don't know anything about it. I don't want to learn more. Skip.
Yeah, it's the terrible price of being dull. And that is what that is. I also want to point out, again, this is just interesting to me. We're seeing if a theme is being built here. They've got a vanity URL at the end. It's fascinating. So let's keep going. Here we go. This is Milk Street Radio, Amazon Prime. Video is what it was categorized under. It's Amazon Prime Live. So you'll hear what I mean.
Hey there. Looking to level up your shopping experience? Let me introduce you to Amazon Live. If you haven't heard, it's a shoppable video experience where influencers and creators showcase the latest must-haves all while you shop in real time. And for those who love some celeb gossip, reality stars like Kyle Richards, Lala Kent, and friend of the pod, Paige DeSorbo. On her new show, In Bed with Paige DeSorbo, Paige invites top-tier guests to cozy up in her fluffy bed where they spill secrets, share nighttime routines, and even whip up midnight snacks. Stream and shop new episodes of her series In Bed with Paige DeSorbo every Tuesday at 7 p.m. ET by going to amazon.com/live/Paige_DeSorbo. Or you can watch Amazon Live's new live TV channel on Freevee or Prime Video under the DIY section and shop along on your phone.
Or
Okay.
That's another example of creative brief as copy, right?
There we go. Yeah.
they read the entire thing.
This isn't a video podcast, but you could see everyone had the same reaction to amazon.com/live/Paige_DeSorbo.
Geocities.com/
Okay, so you know what? Hold up your fingers. What do you give this one? Ariel gave it a 2. The boys, Adam and Paul, gave it a 3. And Amelia gave it a 1. She finally went for it. So why this one a 1? You've given the last 2 3s. They all kind of feel like they're in the same zone. Why did this one particularly earn a number 1 with you, which is not a good number 1?
I mean, I guess like the creative quality, like they had this voice. It was very sultry, which was sort of surprising to me. It felt a little disjointed from the woman that was talking before. Sure, production-wise, I think it was higher. Honestly, you told us what this was about, and I could not tell you. Was it about live shopping? Was it about Amazon Prime? Was it about music? Like, I literally have no idea.
Confusion.
Yeah, it sounded like a smart promo in there. They were then promoting another podcast. Like, I literally could not tell you. Like, the only takeaway I got was they do some form of live shopping, and I don't know if that's another product that Amazon offers or what. It's so long, so unnecessarily long, and probably 3 times the cost because of that. And I literally have no idea what she was talking about.
All right, let's do this. Let's go ahead and listen to the next one, and we'll get everybody's scores, and then I'll get one of you to react, because I do want to get through all these, because this is good. This is juicy, and I want to get to the end to see what overall advice we have for the team over there at Amazon. All right, so Whole Foods Market is your next one, and this is from It's Me, Tinks.
Prep for Thanksgiving at Whole Foods Market. Save now on no antibiotics ever frozen whole turkey, just $1.49 a pound with Prime. Sales on brie and select seafood appetizers help get things started. For sides, go with wallet-happy favorites from 365 by Whole Foods Market. And finish with decadent desserts from the bakery. Or get your whole spread catered. Just order early. Get Thanksgiving ready at Whole Foods Market. Terms apply.
Okay, let's get everybody's scores. Paul, what do you give it?
It's a 4.
Okay, Amelia?
Yeah, I'd say a 4. 4 or 5.
Ariel?
Also a 4.
And Adam, we'll end with you, and I want to get your point of view.
5.
You give it a 5. Interesting. And that's a high score in this context. So, why the high score, Adam?
Maybe I'm getting numb from all these really terrible ads. I don't know. What I like about it is that at least it's fitting for both the time that it was released. It's also telling me about all the things that if I'm the type of person that's worried about prepping for holiday dinners, whatever it is that I'm planning for, it actually isn't a bad ad. I think it sounds bad. I think it sounds like it's AI. It doesn't sound like there's much personality to it. But I think the actual text of what the ad is not terrible. It leads me in a direction to understand what Whole Foods Market is. I don't feel like I'm not understanding it like the other ones that were confusing. This actually feels directional, and it feels like it's telling me it's just not creative, and it could just be more energetic. It could give it a little bit more. But I did like the voice tone. It felt very welcoming, warm, hospitable, like, come on in, come get our food. It's going to be great. No antibiotic turkey, whatever they were promoting. I didn't hate it. It was not the worst we have listened to today by far.
And that's saying a lot.
Can I add one thing, Stu?
Yes, Amelia, please do.
I mean, this is why you need like an automated verification, whether it's, Magellan or Podscribe, because like immediate make good. You were paying for an ad, wherever that was in the podcast, and a McDonald's ad came on before. I mean, one, do any of these people know about the target audience of this like listener base? I don't know, but immediately done. I think the ad itself was good, but like you've got to be on top of that placement, because I think if it was the ad before McDonald's, it would have converted much higher. But the fact that it was after, I mean, it's just so disjointed. Honestly, like I would want to know that, and I would be like, you got to give me the spot back.
I get it. And I think it's one of the best pieces of advice for all the CAOs listening is know thy breaks. Listen to your ads. There's such a thirst for automation and efficiencies and audio. Like every angle of audio to me like flourishes the more inefficient it is. And part of that is like take the time to stop and listen to all your ads and where they are.
But I don't know if Amazon can listen to their ads, right? So like
somebody could
have a partner, but that's where systems come in, right? You could have seen that this was right after, and that was probably dynamically inserted. So everybody wouldn't have gotten that same thing, but you need to know those things. Imagine if it was like a 10, like a really great ad, but then it was after McDonald's. Like now all that effort and money that you spent on that incredible ad, it's not because it didn't convert because the ad wasn't great. It didn't convert because it was right after a McDonald's ad. So those things are just as important as the ad creative and the contextual targeting that you're doing when you're buying podcast ads that I think oftentimes gets overlooked when you're like reviewing ad performance.
May I bring up a counterpoint?
Yes, of course. Yes.
I'm thinking about it from the perspective of a potential listener who is me. I know who Tinks is. That's my demographic. I don't listen to it, but I get her on Instagram all the time. If I am going to be contrarian here just to see what this brings up for folks, but maybe there's value in she's host read endorsing McDonald's. And I'm like, Tinks, really? McDonald's? And then I'm like, okay, thank God at least there's like some healthy representation here. Is there anything to that?
That's a really great point. It almost makes you resonate with Whole Foods more because you were like, what is this garbage thing that they're talking about? That's a really, really interesting point.
Because she's like she's not quite like a wellness influencer, but she's not a wellness influencer.
No, that's interesting. It's almost like an anti-hook.
I mean, when's the last time each one of you ate at McDonald's?
15 years. Yeah.
A while.
Besides the coffee?
Besides the coffee, yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I get at least a junior chicken a week.
New Year's Day 2015 hangover.
Yeah, I'd say it's been in the last couple weeks for me. I wonder, these are all good observations. This actually makes the point, is to think about it, to know where you're placed and have the conversation about it. Counterpoint. Just what are those associations? Like, am I going to go get a Big Mac chicken sandwich instead of my turkey? Probably not. But is that what you want to be alongside? I really feel like that's the question.
That's a brand safety thing, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, just know there's a lot of power in auditing. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Animation Addicts, Amazon Prime.
Bought the tickets because I knew this was going to be a hot ticket. And now the day has finally come and we are here.
It was quite the experience.
Before we do, I just want to remind you that the holiday season is coming. Christmas is coming sooner than you think, and you might want to get on that. So we're reminding you once again, probably for the last time about the deal that Amazon is doing for their Amazon Young Adults program, formerly Amazon Student. And this is where eligible customers 18 to 24 years old or college students, no matter what your age, as long as you're an eligible college student, you get a free 6-month trial of Amazon Prime, followed by 50% off your regular Prime membership after that 6-month trial ends. So you can use our link, rotoscopers.com/PrimeYA, and that way you can get all the benefits that Amazon Prime has to offer. If you want to have a journey to the past and you want to go buy the Anastasia CD, because CDs and physical media are making a return, you can go buy that. You can go use your Amazon Prime benefits. You can get that quick.
If you would like your own Anastasia music box, those are for sale.
Yes.
Rotoscopers.com/PrimeYA.
And of course, you can always at any time start your Amazon shopping going to rotoscopers.com/Amazon, or if you're in Canada, rotoscopers.com/AmazonCA.
Okay. Felt like it got clipped there at the end, but I'm okay. Seeing that you're Canadian, Adam, would you like to speak to the contextual Canadization of that spot?
No, in Canada, stop trying to cater things to us. We'll buy it where we know where to buy it. We don't need to know that it's amazon.com/CA. We're not stupid. Stop trying to treat us like we don't know how to find the website.
Oh, it's so refreshing to hear that.
It'll redirect me when I get to amazon.com. I don't care.
Right. So Adam, on that note, what do you rate that ad?
Look, at least it's a host read. They give some this is a product that I bought on Amazon. There's some endorsement to it, but it takes forever to get there. And the first part of it is just trying to qualify who it's for. This age, this age, this age. That by the point that I even get to the point where they're telling me about products I might want to buy, I'm lost. I don't care. Well, it's 5. It's a bad host read, but it's at least got an endorsement somewhere in there.
Okay, so Adam gives it a 5. Amelia.
What was it about? What was the product? I feel like listening to the last couple, we answered our initial question, which is, should we aggregate them or should they be separate? And what every one of these ads is doing is throwing in 5 other products. And so the answer is that, in fact, they are treating it as an aggregated. Now this is an opportunity for us to mention every single product. Because I literally couldn't, was it a student thing that Amazon offers? Was it this Anastasia? I don't know. So a 2.
Yes, straight out of the gutter. All right, Paul, how about you?
5.5 is an okay endorsement.
What kept it from that 5.6 or a 6? What kept it right at that 5.5?
It's the same problem with the previous ad, is that the lead is entirely buried. Right, what is it for? I should know that in the first line or 2 of the ad. So I do think it was for the young person's Amazon discount, whatever they call it. And that's actually a pretty attractive offer, honestly. And then the other points about the actual items are just sort of giving the examples of things you can get. But tell me right up front, what is this? If you are this age, you get free Amazon Prime for 6 months. Boom. That's what I need to know up front. You can transition me in a little bit, but if I don't have that in the first 5-10 seconds, I don't know. Now you've lost me and now I'm swimming around. And so it's don't bury the lead. Tell me what's up right away. I know we like to have these transitions or whatever else, but nothing works like telling me what's up.
Clarity has a power all of its own. Ariel, what about you?
Can you remind me what the name of the show is?
This one was Animation Addicts.
And it sounded like I kept hearing YA.
Kept hearing YA. Let me see here. Yeah, rotoscope.com/PrimeYA for Young Adults Program. That's what that was. That's one of these URLs again. That's what, I've already kind of hinted at it. What I'm noticing is okay, so this one has, go to rotoscope.com/PrimeYA. And then the one before was Amazon.com/live/page_desorbo. And then buyingamazonbusiness.com and Amazon.com/ad-free. And I would love to get your guys' thoughts. I know we got a couple left, but my point on that, I don't think it's going to change in the other 2 spots, is what is up with that, Adam?
The number one issue that I have here on top of that is I typed in the URL. Maybe I don't know how to spell properly, but from what I heard, I'm not getting the page that they want me to go to. I'm getting an error 404 page. So that's a problem in itself. They didn't even give me a good URL to go to.
And Ariel, that's what you're calling out, was that vanity URL, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I'd give it a 3.5. That's my rating. Also, mostly because of the host redness of it. But I don't know. I always find it funny when one host speaks for the majority of it and then the other one comes in and you're like, oh, where were you?
They were hiding. Yeah, it's they cut to Ed McMahon all of a sudden.
Right. It's we must incorporate our second host, but I think it does more damage than good.
Okay, best case, worst case. Here we go. Last 2 spots, Audible and then from Amazon.
Let your imagination soar with Audible. With stories across every genre, from expert advice to fantasy, you'll be inspired to imagine new worlds, possibilities, and ways of thinking. Listening can even lead to a positive change in your mood, habits, and overall well-being. As an Audible member, you'll get to choose one title a month to keep from their entire catalog, including bestsellers and new releases. Allow yourself to delve into the spooky this season by listening to classics like Stephen King's The Shining and Pet Sematary. There's more to imagine when you listen. New members can try Audible free for 30 days. Visit audible.com/imagine or text imagine to 500-500. That's audible.com/imagine or text imagine to 500-500.
Okay, that was the Audible one. Capture your thoughts. I'm going to play the next one. This is Amazon on listening time. That was Audible on best case, worst case.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. The holidays are here, and you know what that means. It's time to get your friends and family the gifts they deserve. Take the stress out of shopping with Amazon's great deals and low prices on a huge range of items from toys to tech and much more. Whoever you're gifting for, Amazon has great prices on everything you need this holiday season. Shop Black Friday week starting November 21st.
Okay, let's go. Yeah, Amelia, please. What do you have to say about those?
God, the bar was so low.
Okay.
Yeah, the bar was so low for the other ones. Honestly, I liked this one. I thought it was very specific. They gave examples of products.
You're talking about the one we just listened to, the Amazon one.
The one we just listened to, yeah. It was very specific. It was very targeted to a certain audience. It gave moms and parents an idea of who could buy what for what, and a 7. Again, if we had listened to like a really great host endorsed ad before, maybe this would have been lower, but I knew exactly what product they were talking about. And that should be table stakes for these ads, and that's the feedback for the rest of them. I didn't hate it.
And I'll say it feels good to feel good. They had music in there that feels good, and it's Tool. And for those of us that like music, which is a lot of us, that also helps. What about the Audible spot? Do you even remember the Audible spot?
Again, it was about Audible. I think it was a little less, I don't even remember it. If I recall, it was a little less detailed on, again, why and who, which I think the other one did a good job at. But no, I don't really remember it.
So what do you give it? That's okay.
A 2 or 3, yeah.
Okay, we'll get it a 2.5. That's fine, because that's kind of the point of Ad Infinitum, is that we're not putting all the thought and time and PowerPoints into when an ad is, like, you hear an ad and it comes and it goes. It's a moment. So there you go. Paul, how about you? What do you give the Audible one? What do you give the Amazon spot?
Yeah, I'll give the Audible one a 6. Still too kitchen sink. I notice they never use the word book. I guess that's a thing. And it's not all books, but I'll just note that they never use that particular or audiobook or anything like that. Of course, most people know that. And, I like the specificity of a couple of different books. Again, I think they're burying the lead. I keep seeing this over and over and over again, burying the lead, because half the lead was really more about, hey, spooky season, let's get some spooky books. Let's start with that, not end with that. So that's why I get the 6. For the other ad, it's really a 5. It's average. And again, why are you telling me at the end of the ad about Prime Week? You should be telling me at the beginning of the ad. These ads are formatted like radio. They're formatted like television, where they're making a certain assumption about our attention as well as our ability to skip. And what they need to do, and I see this in research time and time again, is that the more buried the message is in the ad, the less recall there is. The less people remember it, and we tend to see things like intent go down. You need to tell us what early on here, and this is where all these ads are kind of failing. They're burying the lead, and so as your attention fades because you're not hooked on to what it's about, you're losing the action ultimately.
All great points. Yeah, say the name early and often. Twofold, like you said, it's our experience of audio is different than other channels, and then also our ability to skip is definitely present. What do you give the Amazon spot?
I give the Amazon spot a 5. It's average.
Yeah, okay, I got it. Then let's go to Ariel, and we'll end with Adam. So Ariel, what about Audible? What about Amazon?
I wrote down the same thing that Paul said about there not being any mention of the word audiobook or book, which is a choice. I mean, I think you can assume based on the demographics of the people listening to this that they are aware of the term audiobook, and they probably associate Audible with that. And in that sense, I liked the value prop. They gave a good reason that you might want to listen to audiobooks rather than read. And it was something about your imagination, like working harder. And I like that. I thought that was cool. I give it a 6.
Okay. And what about the Amazon spot with the feel-good music?
Yeah, major ad music vibes is what I wrote down. I give this one a 6. Also because I think that it does what it needs to do, which is remind me that Amazon exists and that my cart probably has something in it, and should I buy it or not?
All right, everybody coming in feeling good.
I love that for an ad. I think that would be a great ad. You've got something in your cart don't forget about it.
Go check out.
That's would be a great ad.
All right, Adam, everybody's being a little more generous on these last two, and I don't think without reason. What do you give the Audible and the Amazon spots?
I'm going to give them 6 and 7 respectively. They're both fine. Like, they're not terrible ads. Audible, give me a why. That's all I'm asking for. Why should I be using Audible over reading a book? It's just assuming that I want audiobooks, and maybe I do. Maybe that's the audience that they're reaching. Maybe anyone listening to a podcast probably prefers to listen to a book than to read one, so maybe it's implied. I didn't hate it. It's fine. It's at least clear compared to all the prior brand pitches that we had from Amazon's other products. Then the same thing that I would say about the main Amazon ad, I actually really liked the voice they had. The music was a bit but other than that, it's a fine ad. It hit all the things I would want to know from Amazon. Amazon is a very well-known company. I don't need them to tell me what Amazon is, but I do want them to tell me that there's Prime Days, and I do want them to tell me that this is happening and bring me back and check it out. So I think in that respect, it's a fine ad. So I gave it a 7. It does what it needs to do. It told me the dates. It told me what I should be ordering and if there's deals on.
Okay, well, thank you all for going through those. Let's do this. Let's go round robin. What are your general notes to the chief audio officers at Amazon after you've heard this collection of the way that they invested their $7 or $8 million a month in the podcast channel that we all know and love so dearly? What recommendations do you have for the chief audio officers at Amazon? And we will start with Paul Reese-Mandel.
Don't bury the lead. Give me why you're making the ad now. Tell me what I'm going to get, and you're going to move me down the funnel faster.
Excellent. All right. So that's good. You got a headline. You didn't bury the lead either, dude. You just did exactly what you said. So my hat is off to you. So Amelia, what is your take on it for the CAOs listening?
If you try to be something to everyone, you become nothing to no one. And I think that all of these ads, there was just too many things going on at once. And even if the creative was top notch, I think that you just give people 100 reasons to not know why they should purchase one or the other or look at one or the other.
Yeah, I think what I'm hearing you say is, like has been said, there's a cost to being dull, and part of dullness is trying to put too much in. You're trying to say way too much to too many people, and it just ends up being homogenized, right?
Exactly. And I think that, again, maybe their strategy is like, hey, this is a spot that we can include this other thing, and so therefore we're gonna, get one person to convert on 2 things or 2 people to convert on 1 thing. And I think that they probably, if we looked at their performance, if they had just stuck with 1 thing for each of those, it would have been much higher than trying to fit everything into 1 thing.
There is something to be said for being single-minded. So Ariel, how about you? What is your advice to the CAOs over there at Amazon?
Yeah, I think that I will say what other folks cannot say in this chat right here because they represent corporate interests, but folks at Amazon should be doing air checks, and there are companies that do that. So I definitely think that they should be investing in some softwares and services that might help them in that way. And another way to solidify this message is to actually just come together and have a strategy. That maybe that's quarterly, maybe that's monthly, maybe it's just an asynchronous Slack channel. But I think that there are ways for people who represent the different companies within Amazon to have a cohesive strategy that really hits the nail on the head and brings the point home for people who are listening to podcasts and who are aware of the Amazon universe, but are not aware necessarily of how all of these products fit in with each other.
Yeah, I think the beauty of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, particularly up into Endgame, was that they all work together. Avengers! Assemble. In the same that what I'm hearing you say is like the Amazon Sonic universe, like you guys are so massive and you have so much resource, you're investing so much. Like what is the Amazon Audio University where they all have a lot of support and they're in it together and they can share learnings with each other? That may exist, but from what we're listening to right here, I think we would all suspect if it does exist, it's not doing a good job or it just doesn't exist.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Stu. It feels disjointed. It feels like no one at Amazon's getting along. It feels like they don't know how to play well together, or that it's a group project where they each got a different part of the business and they all try to jam it all together at the end, but none of it works together. And that's what it feels like, is a shitty group project.
Boom, roasted.
That said, I want to zoom out for a second. Amazon's market cap is $2.3 trillion as it currently exists right now. And when I listen to all these ads across their whole suite, it feels like they are a lazy, cheap, and arrogant company. It does not feel very well built together in terms of how they run their campaigns. These are not well executed ads, by and large, by what you would expect expect out of a multi-trillion-dollar company. They feel cheap, maybe to align with Amazon Basics products. Their ads don't sound good. Their products are cheap too. Who knows? And it just comes across as arrogant, like they don't need to put an effort because everybody already knows Amazon. And so do you really need to do anything? And maybe rightfully so. I would say they could lean into that and not have to try very hard and just give you, it's Amazon Prime Days, go now. Just tell them what you want them to do because you already have so much saturation across North America, across the world. Why are you trying so hard and failing? Just give them what they need. I feel like it's just lazy and cheap.
I also think, on to Adam's point, that they're kind of ruining it for the rest of the advertisers out there, because if they have all this money and this is what they're doing with it, what about the companies that have less money? Go ahead, Adam. I see you raising your hand.
Can I add that Amazon owns Wondery, which is a great production house. They produce some of the greatest content out there. This is some of the best audio production that our industry has, and yet they can't produce good quality ads. What is their problem? That is my end game. That is my finishing point. I don't understand. It just feels, it's lazy.
Yeah, we want more people to be advertising. The people that have money, you're ruining the opportunity for us. So please step up.
I like all the Marvel cinematic references
that you've been making.
Well, he just said in game, and I'm just thinking with great power comes great responsibility.
With great power comes great responsibility.
And we're not seeing that, and that we're not hearing that. Do you hear what I hear? Yes, we do. And that point about Wondery, that's great. Like, that's where the university could be. How cool would that be? Like, we've been back there on that campus. It's awesome. And these people, I am sure, like the empathetic part of me, the people that are tasked at Amazon, Amazon Music, Amazon Prime, the teams that are working on this, like, we interface with these people a lot. A lot of times they're the last in the line. They are purely tactical. They really are trying to do their level best. Right? And you don't know what you don't know. But to your point, Adam, it's like, well, you guys do know. So you could bring everybody together. They get to go to the campus. They could talk to Guy Raz, and like they could like bring the whole thing together. That's a great recommendation for the chief audio officers at Amazon. So in looking at the Audiolytics scores, which we use here at Oxford Road to rank and score creative, what is nice to see is that they broadly lined up with exactly the way that we ranked them as well. Tends to be the case. What I like that Audiolytics gives us is a consistent language and a way to talk about it with the teams that we are discussing. I also like that it tends to line up with reality of how folks, when professionals like ourselves go through and rank these. I also think something that I see in this is like, you've got to mind the store. Like when we stop and we take the time to listen all the way through, we can hear and make these observations. And from a Audiolytics standpoint, the main recommendations are making every word count, clarifying the path, which was a big thing on these as well, which was interesting to me, was like, these sound like the calls to action in podcast ads from like a few years ago. I mean, especially that one that was like, go to here/here_here, you know? I mean, it was like, that sounds like out of time. It sounds out of step. And then the other big thing is just like a reason to take action, which I know relates to the first point about clarity. Like, you got to be clear. What are you telling them? Tell them quickly, make it really clear how they're able to take action, and give them a really good reason to take action. So thank you guys so much. With all of that said, after listening to those seven ads, yes, is there any one of those brands that you are now going to engage with in a new or different way? Did any of those ads convert you?
No.
If I were a young adult, I'd go claim my 6 months of free Prime.
I would maybe go check out Prime Days for Black Friday.
Okay, now how many of us are going to go use...
I might have done it anyways.
That's what I was about to say, is how many of us are going to use Amazon Prime regardless? It's like guilty as charged.
It's like breathing. It's like drinking water, unfortunately.
Well, what a great set of fine folks to have out here. It is like the Avengers have assembled yet again. I am grateful for you guys. I'm so glad we made this happen. I know it took a little time, and I think that there's a great headline to come out of this for Amazon and for all chief audio officers. And it's, with great power comes great responsibility.
With great power
comes great responsibility.
There's people that are investing a whole lot less, that are making ads that are way more engaging. And we would love to see Amazon in the space, particularly with the resources they've got at Wondery, really taking the lead in shaping some innovative and awesome, interesting advertising in podcasting. So thank you guys once again for coming on Ad Infinitum. And I think we should probably get the band back together again sometime, don't you?
Yeah.
Round 3. Oof.
Ding, ding, ding.
All right. Thank you, guys. And remember, everybody out there listening, to have fun making the ads work.